Let's take a look at this application of addition and subtraction question on page 1 of 3, example number 3. You see here a composite figure where they're asking us to find the side x, and what they're giving us are these sides. Whenever we see these questions and we say, okay, I don't even know how to start it, think back if you've seen questions like this in your previous math, and you have. They always have a pattern of similar kind of questions that come up. It may have looked at in the most simplest form that you have done it, would have been, let's say you saw something like this. This side is 8, this is 5. How much is this side? When you write the question in a more simpler whole numbers, then the strategy how to solve the question always comes up faster. So in this one, we would say, okay, in order to solve this, this will end up becoming 8 minus 5. So x is going to be the longer side minus the shorter measurement, and that will give you the measurement for x. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to take this longer side and subtract this from it to get x. However, here, there's a couple of things that are happening. So give me a second and let me erase this. There is few things that are happening here. We have binomial terms, so that means we have two terms for each dimension. So if you remember that term binomial, so that's why I introduced brackets around it so that I can be very careful when I'm subtracting them. And the second thing that's happening is we have more complicated radicals. So before I even execute my plan, I am going to simplify each of these sides into their simplest form. So even before I bring them down to subtract them, I'm going to simplify each one of them. So 8 root 2 is already simplified. Don't need to do anything there. But definitely 12 can be simplified. So that will be 4 root 3. So 8 root 2 plus 2 times 2 root 3. And this becomes 8 root 2 plus 4 root 3. So instead of using this more complicated number, I'm going to use a simpler version of it. And then I'm going to do the same thing for here. This will be 5 root 9 root 3. 5 times 3 root 3. So 15 root 3. So obviously I'm going a little fast because I already know these. I've done it a few times. But don't feel like your speed should match up to mine. I have a key in front of me. I've done these questions bazillion times. So it's going to take time, and then you're going to recognize these numbers more and more and get faster. Okay? And then students always get faster than me. Okay, so this is -4. This ends up becoming root 9 root 2. And that becomes 3. So this becomes -12 root 2. And it looks good because I saw root 2 and root 3 in the first dimension, and I saw the same radicand, so it should work out well. I'm on the right path. Now I'm just going to go ahead. The bigger dimension, which is this one. Sorry, the bracket doesn't close there. The bigger dimension minus the smaller dimension. Okay. So now this is important. The reason I put these brackets in is because of this negative, because this negative will definitely change the signs of these numbers inside. Okay, so the first one, when it opens, because there's no sign, there's a positive. This does not change any signs in the first one, but this positive 15 root 3 will end up becoming negative 15 root 3, and this negative 12 root 3 will end up becoming positive 12 root 3. So that's the reason I put those brackets the minute I saw those binomial terms. So I took care of both of them, the binomial and the fact that they were more complicated, so I simplified them. Now I'm going to combine like terms. Positive 8 and positive 12 have the same, these are the same radicals. So this ends up becoming 20 root 2. And then these two are similar. They're both negative, so they will also combine. Minus negative 19 root 3, not minus negative. Okay, that's my final answer. And because it's in radicands in the simplest form, this is the exact answer. I don't need to do anything with it. So if I leave it like this, this would be the answer for exact one. But for it to be in decimals, I would need to put this in my calculator, simplify them, and round them to the nearest tenth, which means 1 decimal place. Make sure you're doing your rounding correctly, and that will should end up to be 9.2. Okay, so make sure you do your homework as it has been listed in the daily schedule for this section, and I will see you guys next class.